Major announcement, and it appears he is speaking now in Florida. So let's listen in to find out what it is.
In our society, that's why we have a rule of law. And so I think today's action is obviously warranted. I know that there'll potentially be some, Florida Senate could potentially see this depending on how things are going out. But I just think that to take a position that you have veto power over the laws of this state is untenable. And I think it warrants the suspension and eventual removal of office. And so we're happy to be here with a number of people in law enforcement. And so I want to thank my friend and the sheriff here, Chad Chronister in Hillsborough County, and I'm going to have him come up and say a few things.
Thank you, Governor. We are extremely grateful the state of Florida and all of law enforcement have you. Each day I wake up, I leave my family, and I go to work with purpose and pride to uphold my oath of office and keep everyone in Hillsborough County safe. And the nearly 4,000 employees here at the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office share these same values. We put our lives on the line for complete strangers. We are resolved to apprehend the criminals who prey on law-abiding citizens in our community. It's our duty, and we trust that our criminal justice system, the state attorney, public defender, and courts will fairly adjudicate the circumstances and hold those who are guilty accountable. Like law enforcement throughout the county, our criminal justice partners also take an oath to uphold the Constitution, the duly enacted laws of this state, and to be the voice for victims and the protectors of public interest. The governor's suspension of State Attorney Warren is not political to me. It's about law and order. It's about ensuring our loved ones are safe. It's about the victims and their voices. There aren't Republican and Democratic victims, just victims. They matter, and they should be heard. Over the last several years, State Attorney Warren has acted as an adjudicator of all, as if some type of supreme authority, by reducing charges, dropping cases, and single-handedly determining what crimes will be legal or illegal in our county. Ask yourself, aren't these the decisions for the courts or a jury of our peers? One of the more egregious examples occurred in September and involved a suspect who, after shooting someone, then opened fires on a residence where that victim sought refuge and protection. Inside of that house was the victim, his mother, other children, and extended family members who were forced to take cover and hide. To make things even worse, nearby was another mother and her twin infant children in a vehicle. One of the shooters, our suspect, was identified and arrested just a short few days later. After being released from jail, he was caught and arrested for committing another burglary, and while in jail, the state attorney's office no-files charges on the shooting and the separate burglary charge. Earlier this year, this very same suspect was again arrested for carrying a concealed firearm, and just last week arrested for the second time on charges of carrying a concealed firearm. My point is, like too many cases, why was this violent offender not held responsible for the original shooting? The state attorney's office explanation to our detective is the depositions would have been too lengthy and complicated. To add a little more context, the suspect, who faced no accountability for the shooting, we believe has gang affiliation and involvement in an unsolved homicide. One of the victims in this case, the mother, is extremely angry and frustrated with State Attorney Warren, feeling as though her status as a victim doesn't matter and the state attorney simply does not care. The victim wanted to be here today to tell her story herself, but has to work in order to provide for her family. The victim has lived in a motel since this shooting because she's too frightened to return to that home. Even in the face of this adversity, law enforcement continues to report for duty and uphold their obligation. As your sheriff, I continue to work with my law enforcement counterparts who privately are frustrated with the state attorney, who seems intently focused on empathy for criminals and less interested in pursuing justice for crime victims. As most everyone knows, I'm a tremendous proponent of reducing recidivism. I've created several diversion programs and continue to provide resources, education, and training opportunities for individuals to rehabilitate and improve themselves, while still holding offenders responsible for their actions. These efforts do not involve a blatant refusal to uphold the laws of our state. As the governor just outlined, and as Tampa law enforcement has seen over the years, empowering criminals through a lack of prosecution jeopardizes the safety of our Tampa Bay community and makes them even more brazen to commit additional crimes and continue to victimize the innocent. As the sheriff of Hillsborough County, I am committed to law and order, and I hold myself accountable to the people and would expect other elected members of our community to uphold these same values. Today, Governor DeSantis is holding State Attorney Warren accountable.